Hi there, grief growers. Thank you so much for listening today. I'm taking a break from full-length podcasting right now and gearing up for Season 4 of Coming Back, which premieres on September 5th, 2018. But in the meantime, I wanted to bring you some never-before-heard clips from Season 3's interviews. These are snippets from my conversations with guests on the show that didn't make the final cut, but contain some wisdom, comfort, or laughter that I wanted to share with you. This week, I'm sharing a small but meaningful moment from my chat with Michele Neff Hernandez. Michele lost her husband Phil unexpectedly when he was hit by a car while out on his bike. She found that her grief was triggered by rainy days, but probably not for the reason that you think. Take a listen.
But one of my favorite stories to tell about Phil is that he was an air conditioning heating contractor. And so on the days when it rained, he didn't work. And so whenever it was raining, he would call me incessantly. Are you done working yet? Are you done working yet? Are you coming home yet? Are you done working yet? And so on the first rainy day after he died, I was so sad. No one called. And, it's not a day that anyone ever could have predicted would have been a hard day, but it continued to be every time it rained, I would think about the fact that my phone wasn't ringing and that he wasn't calling and he wasn't waiting for me to come home. And that doesn't have anything to do with the bigness of life. That has to do with the tiny little experiences that make us who we are and who build our relationships to be what is that we value. And so I try to take that and remember that the small experiences that I create with the people who I care about most are what they're going to remember. They're not going to remember how many widowed people were assisted by the programs I created. They're going to remember whether or not I made time to have those special moments with them. So I think I've become more balanced as a result of realizing what was important to me about my relationship with Phil and what I miss about him.
That's so beautifully said, and it's a compilation. What happens to us after loss is not just one thing. It's a bunch of different things in a bunch of different areas of our lives. And we do become different people than we were before, and yet some things stay the same. Some truths about our spirits, our core, even like little nuanced things stay the same. It's easy for us and for others to remember the big days, the birthdays, the anniversaries, the death-iversaries's. But what about the small everyday experiences that we grieve when we lose someone? Well, sometimes, unfortunately, we have to navigate those on our own. And that's just another aspect of grief, balancing the very, very big with the very, very small. This week, I challenge you to think about the small moments that you miss with someone or something that you've lost. Share those memories with all of us in the Grief Growers Garden, my private Facebook group for listeners of this podcast. I'll be sharing one of my moments too. I hope you enjoyed this In the Meantime episode of Coming Back. Stay tuned for more of these interview tidbits in the weeks between now and the Season 4 launch in September. If you'd like to listen to my full conversation with Michele Neff Hernandez, including how her research on being a widow turned into the internationally recognized Camp Widow, check out episode 50 of Coming Back called Look at All Those Widowed People, and you'll hear why I called the episode that in our conversation as well. If Coming Back has changed how you see grief, loss, or death, please consider supporting this podcast on Patreon. Now is a wonderful time to support the show because between now and August 31st, I am hosting a giveaway. Anyone who is already a patron on Patreon or pledges to become one before the last day of August is automatically entered to win 2 books that were featured on Season 3 of Coming Back. Grief Works by Julia Samuel, who was on episode 42 of Coming Back, and You Are Not Alone by Debbie Augenthaler. In addition to the 2 books you'll win, I'll also send along a set of Coming Back podcast stickers and a handwritten thank you note expressing my gratitude and love for your support of the show. You can find a link to my Patreon page where you can pledge and enter to win for as little as $1 per month in the show notes. Also in the show notes this week are some wonderful ways you can stay in touch between now and Season 4. First of all, you can join me live this coming Monday in less than 1 week, August 27th at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time. This is my monthly chat room style space to answer your questions on grief and loss and provide a little bit of exclusive time for the biggest supporters of the show. I'm going live for a full hour here this Monday. I cannot wait to see you there. Secondly, staterooms are still available for March 2019's Bereavement Cruise. So many of you already have signed up and registered, but if you're still on the fence about joining us, that's okay. Just click the link in the show notes to fill out an interest form about coming on board. I would love to set sail with you and meet you in person as we look at our grief for an entire week on the high seas. You can find links to all of my upcoming events in the show notes or by visiting my website, www.shelbyforsythia.com. You can also check out episode 52 of Coming Back if you'd like to listen to me talk about the details of the Patreon giveaway and all the places I'll be between now and season 4 of Coming Back. That's all I've got for you for this episode of Coming Back. In the meantime, I cannot wait to return to you with full-length episodes in September, and it's coming up. While I'm away from the mic, you can find updates on me, this podcast, and my adventures on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and some extra behind-the-scenes stuff always on Patreon. If you'd like to leave a question, comment, or guest suggestion for a future episode, leave a voicemail or text 312-725-3043 or email me at shelby@shelbyforsythia.com, subject line podcast. As always, my dear grief growers, it was beautiful sharing this space and time with you today. I see you, I am proud of you and the work that you're doing in the world, and I love you. Because even through grief, we are growing.